an impromptu way to start the vlog, but I am traveling in this vlog. It's also the reset, but I'm gonna be gone for 2 nights, 3 days, whatever, in the mountains, and I didn't have, it just feels so impromptu because I was so busy over the weekend just trying to get things done so I could take off these 3 days from YouTube and everything. Like, obviously I'm vlogging, but I did all my other work at the end of last week and on days where I usually wouldn't have done any work. So I just feel kind of like, oh my gosh, I gotta pack all this stuff. And then like last night, talking on the phone for 3 hours rather than probably packing. Probably not the best idea, but yeah, yesterday I should have done so much yesterday, but we had the F1 race. I had 2 hockey games to watch, so Easter was a jam-packed. Like, I didn't even do a happy Easter post, so like I hope y'all had a happy Easter. It was just so much sports yesterday, but everything, not the race, but the 2 hockey games did go well. The Leafs won and the Canes won, so that is really, and it's the playoffs in hockey, so you know, when your teams do well, that is always a plus. But yeah, I'm not going to be streaming this week, which is already too late to tell y'all. I didn't post anywhere saying I'm not streaming, so really should get around to that. But I need to pack up all my books. This camera was the main thing. I was like, I cannot forget my camera. So I just got the camera, but I need to pack up my books, my blanket, and then my snacks. I need to get my snacks together. But yes, I'm going to Waynesville, which we have been to in a vlog before, which is just down the road from Asheville. I've not been to West North Carolina since Helene. I've been told like nothing is that different where I'm going. Again, I don't know because the person who told me hasn't even been, so we will just have to see how everything is. I'm sorry we didn't go over the weekly TBR here, but I will do that later once I am at the hotel. But yeah, mini vacation, because the last time I did a 3-day trip was St. Simons and I absolutely loved it. So I'm going to try to recreate that, a coastal trip in the mountains, because I didn't go to the beach in St. Simons or anything like that. So we're basically going to try to recreate that here and just have a very easy, relaxed kind of reading getaway. So we just stopped in Clinton, South Carolina at QT to like go to the bathroom, or I went to the bathroom. Penny all got to walk around. It is actually still pretty warm because I don't know if it's going to be cold in the mountains or not, because like what is 70 near the coast might be different than 70 in the mountains, and they don't have all the humidity that we have down on the coast. But that is all. I'm not that hungry. It is getting like around my lunchtime. I usually eat a little later on Monday, but not really hungry yet, so I didn't pick up anything at QT, but I do have snacks back there, you know, for when I do get hungry. And I mean, I had a bigger breakfast than usual as well. I had Chick-fil-A for breakfast, which that only happens a few times a year, so, you know. And oh my gosh, there are so many trucks. They're so loud. That one didn't have anything on it, but we had the mosquito man next to me, an exterminator. And yeah, this was busy. Like, I saw like, what, 3 other people in the bathroom. Oh my gosh, I go to the stall at the end and somebody must have been in it because I like tried to pull the door and it wouldn't open. Awkward. I don't know why I'm telling y'all this. Coming in from Houston. Okay guys, so here's my room. I know I have a bunch of SHIT everywhere, and yeah, this is like really narrow. Like, this configuration is very strange, but I think this was built in the 1920s, so you know, over 100 years old. So you know, you expect things to be a little different. But there's one window. I do really like the furniture style. No, it's personally not how I would style my own house, but for a hotel, I do like it. There's the travel fit. That's just been my travel fit in the springtime. Look how little this door is. Like I'm telling you, this is so, you would think it's Italy or somewhere being so tight. Here is the bathroom. Not a lot of space. Toilet, and y'all know I prefer a bathtub. So I guess I won't be, I really just came right in here. So I guess I won't be getting a bath, but I will be showering. So we have all of that. And we do have a balcony. We'll get there in a minute. But then here's the bedroom. That's my cup. I put that there. But again, the coffee bar is in the room. There's not really a table for you to eat at, but I guess they're like, come outside and eat out here. Oh, I guess the balcony has a, no, that's like a little side table. There's that, the view, and then that's a closet and all over there. And there's a light switch right there. But this, I've never seen a latch like this. It was very hard to get back closed. But this is my view. So yeah, that's a really little table, but I guess I will eat out here. The Cat in the Cradle song. Yeah. I don't see anybody golfing. Oh, there's a golf cart. But yeah, there's the view. Beautiful. I'm going to do a little bit of like an unpack with me, but just my book stuff because I already unpacked all the clothes. Oh, I didn't unpack all the clothes actually. I see some right here, but this is my book bag, if you will. I got it at Carolina. I don't know what the name of that store is, where it is. I can tell you all that. Okay, phone charger, that will go in the bedroom. This is my like diary, my journal that I write in every day, but I didn't write in it yesterday. Totally forgot. Need to do that. E-service is so busy. I told you yesterday, or told you earlier today. My iPad for when I watch The White Lotus later, but I don't know what the Wi-Fi password is. I went, because when I got inside, because I was on the balcony eating my lunch, I go to log on to the Wi-Fi and it's like, there's a password. That kind of is annoying. I'm gonna have to ask somebody who works here what the password is, but I do have my iPad. If you are curious, I got this iPad secondhand. I don't think I've ever told that on here, like told that story or whatever, but yeah, that's an iPad. I don't know what generation or anything it is. It was a hand-me-down because it came from a family member. I have my reading planner. This is where I plan out my videos and where I put down how many pages I read in a day or what books I hauled that day, which I'm not hauling any books today. I will be going to a used bookstore tomorrow. They just close at 5:30, so I literally had no time to get there. We have the book I read in the morning, which is Donlin Voices, an anthology of indigenous writing from New England, from the University of Nebraska Press. I think the title's pretty self-explanatory. Next, we have my current read, which is Stoner, and I am here to tell y'all what this book is about. I'm 50% of the way into it. I am reading it on my Kindle. It says, William Stoner is born at the end of the 19th century into a dirt-poor Missouri farming family. Sent to the State University to study agriculture, but he instead falls in love with English literature and embraces a scholar's life, so different from the hard-scrabble existence he has known. And yet, as the years pass, Stoner encounters a succession of disappointments. Marriage into a proper family estranges him from his parents. His career is stipend. His wife and daughter turn coldly away from him. A transforming experience of new love ends under threat of scandal. Driven ever deeper within himself, Stoner rediscovers the stoic silence of his forebears and confronts an essential solitude. John Williams' luminous and deeply moving novel is a work of quiet perfection. William Stoner emerges from it not only as an archetypical American, but as an unlikely existential, I can't say that, hero, standing like a figure in a painting by Edward Hopper in a stark relief against an unforgiving world. This is one of the highest rated classics on my TBR according to Goodreads. I'm not going to go into my thoughts yet, but I will later in about 2 hours. We have my mood read, which is The Trees by Percival Everett. I am doing the audiobook for this, and I'm so glad that I brought my headphones with me, because if I'm reading outside, I don't want to be reading this, because this book is a critique on white supremacy, and a revenge story on that, so it is throwing around a lot of racial slurs and even just some comments that like aren't racist comments but are a bit vulgar. So I'm so happy I brought my earbuds with me. But this is about a story of these white men are starting, there's all these brutal murders, but at each crime scene an unexpected second dead body, that of a man who resembles Emmett Till, and it's just going all into, is this magical, you know, like is this paranormal elements, paranormal is the better word, or what is happening here. Just imagine if that was happening in America. Craziness. I forgot my Outlander book. I did not bring my Outlander book with me. I have it on my Kindle. Did it fall out in the car maybe? Or did I not bring it? I really wanted to bring it with me because it takes place here. It takes place in Western North Carolina, which is where I'm at, but it's the 9th book in the Outlander series, Go Tell the Beast That I'm Going by Diana Gabaldon. This is a story that is very genre bending. It is following one family during the American Revolution with some time travel elements involved. But what else do I have in my bag? I have my Kindle, which I'm gonna go outside somewhere around here and read, and all my writing utensils. So I'm going to bring this one. Actually, I think I might bring my whole tote bag, like not bring all the stuff, but just bring my tote bag with me. Yeah, so I need to get my room key to put it in there. So I have both of these are what I'm going to be needing, but I do have my other, those things as well. I do have earbuds, and then this is where I should have put my earbuds and all, is just to carry technology stuff. But I'm gonna go outside and read now. I don't know if I should bring the camera with me or not, because that might just be a lot to bring with me. But I am gonna bring these and my my planner book. But yes, I feel like I'm on the White Lotus, and my dad's like, why? He's never seen the White Lotus, but just staying in a hotel, being on vacation. I haven't been on vacation since my 25th birthday, which was last year in July, which I know, like, blessed to have gone on a vacation even then, because I had not gone on a vacation for years because of COVID and all of that kind of stuff, of states being shut down. I don't have a passport, so I can only vacation in the United States. So I'm gonna get my drink, and I do have this trash that I need to throw out. I'll bring that with me, hopefully. I know there's not gonna be outdoor trash cans, I'm assuming not, because bears. So I don't know if I should bring that with me or not, but I'm gonna head out there and chill out and then read at 6 o'clock. It's currently 5:42. Don't think I'm gonna read outside on the balcony tonight because there's no light on the balcony, so I wouldn't be able to see the page. Now there are lights like around the property a little bit, but you know, I want it to be, maybe I need one of those reading lights. Had my pasta, the hotel, there are no mini fridges. There's all these outlets everywhere, but no mini fridges. So my dad was like, I think I have one in my room. So we go and look under the sink, and it's a storage space. There's no mini fridge. And obviously there's no microwave or anything. There's no plates, but there's a restaurant here. So we were able to get some plates to eat our meal on, you know, and silverware. So I ate in my dad's room because we thought he had a mini fridge, but he didn't. And I'm going to go join him outside in a little bit. I hope he's not waiting for me, because the toner, it always leaks in my makeup bag. So Thayer's toner, I don't know if I would recommend for traveling, because this is the second trip I've been on with it, and it was all damp in there. I just set out my stuff that got all wet on the balcony and put my bag out on the balcony. Hopefully it dries. I mean, you know, it doesn't really get too hot here this time of year. Hopefully it dries. I don't know if it will or not. I did read all that I think I'm gonna read in Stoner today, and I didn't really register a lot of what I read. There was one part where he had to evaluate to see if this guy should be let go from the program, because they were like, he doesn't know anything about literature, so what is the point of having him here? And the other, he is having an affair. So I mean, like, I did register what was happening, but I feel like I just could have been so much more invested. And I already told my dad, I'm like, dude, you're not letting me read at all, because when I was reading outside earlier, so I don't read till 6, and I sit out there from like 5:45, and my dad comes and sits with me. Like, I was out there all by myself that long. Well, you know, there were other guests or whatever, and people playing golf. So I sit there And right time it hit 6 is when my dad comes and sits with me, and he's just talking to me, and I was like, trying to read. Then waiting for the food at the restaurant, I am sitting there trying to read, and he's like, until you'll pay for the chair and all that. I was like, dude, you're not letting me read at all. So I'm just gonna sit up there for probably like 10 minutes with him, and then come back to read The Trees, which, as I said, I am doing an audiobook. I don't think I'm gonna be able to read out on my balcony. That AC is really loud, but that's every hotel I stay at. The AC is only so loud in hotels that I can't sleep because it's so loud. I'm gonna have to turn that off before I go to sleep. But we will look at the notes that I took for Stoner for the day. Okay, my key card is over there. Let's see this, and I did get the Wi-Fi password and everything, so to let y'all know, we are good there. And I haven't wrote down how many pages I've read or anything like that yet. I guess I'll do it at the end of the day. It's 153. What I got to, no, I think I got higher than that. Can I see my notes on my phone? Did it not save on here? So it looks like we're pulling up the Kindle. If none of that's saved, I'm gonna be pissed. Okay, it is over here on my Kindle. It's just with here, I can see a list and I can't, it's not as easy to click to go to the page. It's not as accessible. I started reading today on chapter 10. This was a, let's see again, a popular quote. Grim and ironic pleasure from the possibility that what little learning he had managed to acquire that led him to this knowledge that in the long run, all things, even the learning that let him, I don't really understand. Knowing this were futile and empty at last, and at last diminished into nothingness, they did alter. So was that part of the last quote? I think. This is so difficult. I'm sorry, I'm kind of in a mood. I think I had higher expectations for my trip than when I actually got here, and I'm not in the luteal phase before people are like, is it something with a cycle? No, I'm not. Yeah, hopefully I wake up and feel better about everything with sunshine. I mean, I'm buying books tomorrow at a bookstore that I have really enjoyed. And yeah, seeing the beauty, like the natural beauty driving around earlier, oh my gosh, like I was just like, oh my gosh, like just drop dead gorgeous. I'm sorry about, I just told you I had ravioli. But yeah, since I'm having a difficult time reading the notes on the Kindle rather than having it on the phone, why didn't it go to my phone? I don't know. Technology. I have not had a good time with it lately. I'm wondering if it's something astrological. I feel like there should be an M in it. So this book's doing nothing for me. I feel absolutely nothing towards it, whatever. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's good. I just don't feel anything with the character. Like, there is a lot of potential here. I think there's so much potential with this book, but I'm not feeling that connection to it. And to let you know, I read half of it before even coming on vacation. So it's not even like I'm in the wrong headspace or anything like that. It's just I'm not connecting with the story in a way that I feel like I should. You know, if you like dark academia, I think you'll really like this setting. It's set at Mizzou before it was called Mizzou, the University of Missouri in Columbia. I do think you would like that. The writing, I mean, the writing is good. I don't think it's bad, but it's not my favorite kind of writing style either. The plot, just very mundane, and I mean, there's a lot of like classism here, elitism, that's what has stood out to me the most. And the friend, I don't know if I said I'm doing this as a buddy read with my friend Marquise, but he feels the same, and it's not doing a lot for him either. Yeah, so he was saying maybe it was a prank that it got so popular on TikTok that somebody was doing an experiment. I don't know if that was the case, but yeah, it's not doing a whole lot for me. I wouldn't recommend Stoner, but as always, if it does sound intriguing to you from when I read that description earlier, maybe give it a go. totally meant to vlog this earlier to just tell y'all about my day so far on Tuesday. So I started the day by going downtown to do some shopping. So I did go to Wall Street Books. Not everything I got is in the car, just so I don't have to make so many trips back and forth between my room and the car. I will do a haul tomorrow though, once I am back at my house. But I went there. I think I got 3 books, all historical fiction. I did look in the romance section because I'm wanting a romance, which stay tuned a few minutes and we'll talk about that. But it was all mainly what I call old lady romance, you know, which it's not really, it's for everybody, you know. But like the Nora Roberts, which y'all know I do read Nora Roberts. I have never read any of her romance books though. I did find 3 historical fiction books, so all like ancient and prehistory, and y'all know I'm really into that, and just finding books that I haven't heard of before. I know sometimes it's like you should buy books that are already on your list, that are already on your radar, but then also when you go into like a used bookstore, you don't know what you're going to get. You're going to find some things that interest you that you haven't heard about online, and that's always really fun. That store is really awesome. The owner was there and I talked to her and she's just so friendly. I must have been like the first people there today because she was like, oh, I need to turn on the lights in the back. And I was like, yeah. Yeah, so I have been there before. The 2 stores, the first 2 stores I have been to before. So then I went to Affairs of the Heart, which is just a little gift shop. There's a lot of like local artists. I got a aluminum necklace that's kind of like in a Celtic design made by a local artist. And then I got a crystal bear. What else did I get? Oh, I got this cool like, I don't know if he's a gnome, I wouldn't say, but it kind of looks like a mushroom, but it's a little tree, like it's only like that big. I did get some other stuff, but I am blanking on what I got. That store, yeah, they are like everybody here is so nice. The Southern hospitality is so like real here. And she had actually heard of Florence, which is my hometown, when she was asking me where I'm from. I never know what people are in Florence around, but she's like, that's like halfway to the beach. And I'm like, yep, that's exactly right. And we talked about Buc-ee's because a lot of people are going, come to Florence to go to Buc-ee's. And then we talked about how they're putting one in Mabon, is that how you say it? Near Raleigh. They pronounced it right. I had never heard it pronounced before. I'm blanking on how you say that, but yes, we were talking about how that just brings so much traffic, and I gave her a warning. I was like, next time you go to the beach, that's the exit. It is very busy and jam-packed, especially in the summertime with beach traffic and then Buc-ee's traffic. It can get crazy out there. So I went there. Then I went to another little store, I think because I did take a card, the card for the store, and again, just so sweet, the people there. I got 2 North Carolina stickers. I got a little coaster that has the map of Waynesville on it, because I have one that is Sunset Beach or Ocean Isle. I don't remember, that I got at the beach last spring. So to go with that little collection that we have going there. Did I buy? Oh, I remember the other thing I got at Affairs of the Heart is a Christmas ornament with a cardinal on it, because I love cardinals. They're actually, since we're in Cherokee lands, cardinals are very spiritual and important to the Cherokee people. But I got the cardinal ornament because that's something, I don't really buy magnets or snow globes anymore. That's something I used to do with my travels, but those do take up a lot of space. I do want to start getting magnets again, because on my CBR cart, it is metallic, so I can put magnets on it, so that's definitely something I'm gonna have to look into. But I did get a ornament that I put on my Christmas tree that is in my bedroom. I then went to this puzzle store that's on the corner. I'm not sure what the name is. That's the one I didn't get a card for, but I drive by it, so we will just have to see. It was really big, but I went in there to get puzzles. I got 2 puzzles, one of a map of North Carolina, and then one that is a scene of Waynesville, the sign that says Gateway to the Smoky Mountains. I don't know if I took I know I took a picture. I don't know if I took video of that. And I have a puzzle by that brand that I got again at Sunset Beach last spring. And it was a very difficult puzzle, but you know, it's so cool because it's of the actual town, and I was just like a generic mountain scene or something, because I've seen them. I was like, am I gonna get one with a black bear on it? Am I gonna get one with a mountain lion on it? And then I found the cool ones that were all like North Carolina or like, you know, Southeast America themes. But then I saw my dad was in the back of the store, and it was like a whole bookstore with all, I saw all the new releases, guys, and I was like, oh my gosh, I want them. But I did find the romance book I was looking for, which is Throttled by Lauren Asher. Y'all know I'm getting into F1, and I wanted to know, because I was like, they're going to all these like glamorous cities. There's a lot of money involved. This should be an interesting for a romance thing, because there's just something, I don't know why. We're just so drawn to the lives of rich people. Like, y'all know, I'm watching The White Lotus. I'm not gonna go stand at a resort in Thailand. That's just crazy. Like, I can't do that. And then there, the shows like the Kardashians and all of that, where they're about billionaires. People are just fascinated by the luxury and everything. I don't know exactly why that is, because if we think back, like, people, Princess Diana, people, which I do think Princess Diana generally was like a really good person and was doing a lot of good stuff, but like, people were like really watching the royal family. There's this, and then there's like socialites and all of that, so I don't know exactly why that is, but yeah, so I wanted to try an F1 romance. Now, my friend who's really into F1, I don't know if she watches my video, so I'm not going to say her name, but she told me she didn't really recommend it because the author apparently doesn't know like anything about racing, and y'all know racing is in my blood. So we'll just have to see how that goes. I don't know. Since it is like a romance book, I don't think I am going to be too picky about it, but sometimes if it is just so obviously wrong, that might bother me. Who knows? And she told me there were some indie books that are better, and I probably wouldn't find them at the bookstore. But this bookstore, I didn't tell her yet, but there were a lot of indie books there, which I was kind of shocked by. Like, I was seeing all these books that I had never heard of before, but sounded really interesting. So I made sure to add them. I took pictures of them to look them up later, because I only bought one book. I don't want to go too crazy. I don't know what the price is. Yeah, but everything was relatively cheap compared, like Barnes & Noble and whatnot. I think that's the store I spent the most. I think it was like $63, and that was 2 puzzles, a book, and I don't know if my dad got anything there, but it was $63, and the puzzles were both over 500 pieces. I went there, then I went to get lunch, which, can you see some of it back there? One of the bags, I still have some garlic bread, but I went to Angelo's, which is an Italian restaurant. I know I've just been eating all the Italian food here. That's just what I've been in the mood for. I've been to Angelo's before when I visited here 2 years ago, and I had pizza that time, but today I had the baked ziti. It was really good. And then, as I said, they gave me some bread, but I don't know if that was sourdough or what. It tasted really good though. And then I do have my garlic bread still that I haven't got to. I also have some wings in here, but that's we'll get to that later. So we came back, we ate our food. Then we went to go to low free libraries, and only one was a success. I got is it Annie Proulx? I don't know, because it's French Canadian. The book is Bark Skin, I think, which is really big, chunky, 713-page book, but a historical fiction taking place in the early colonial days of Canada, and I have never really read anything like that and thought that sounded intriguing. And they said there was a limited series on National Geographic. No, I don't think I have National Geographic, but if you do, that might be something that you could be interested in. And we were just driving around, and so my dad just said, "You want to go to Maggie Valley?" And I was like, sure. I don't think I've ever been there. And we're going the wrong way on the highway, and I'm like, oh, we can take the Blue Ridge Parkway, because we had to get over these mountains. So we did go on the Blue Ridge Parkway on Earth Day, which I think is super cool. I don't know if the Blue Ridge Parkway is like a national park. I don't know what the word would be for it, but spending time with nature on Earth Day is really awesome. But it is very rainy here, and these are the Smoky Mountains. No, it's not real smoke that is in the mountains, but fog and all of that. And people back in the old days just thought it looked like smoke. Driving in this a mile high, we were literally in the clouds. There were some parts where you could just barely see the road in front of you. Like, those yellow lines are really, I don't know what those are called, but the yellow lines are like a lifesaver in those situations, because it was just white. We were just in clouds, and I could even see the clouds. I took a video of it, y'all would have seen it already, of the clouds over the parking lot on one of the overlooks, and just seeing them, right like off the ground. It's crazy. And we did not see any bears or anything because I have seen bears on the parkway before. But we got over to Maggie Valley, just drove around there. I did go to a little free library at Lake Junaluska, didn't get anything there. And then we came back and we got some wings, but they did mess up my order and gave me the wrong flavor or whatever, but I'll eat it and hopefully it's good. But we got those wings to eat during the hockey game, which is in a little less than an hour. We're going to have a makeshift watch party. I don't know, other guests might want to join us because the golf course is having a party tonight for members. Now, I don't think I'm a member. I don't know, but that's going to be over at the restaurant. So just if it's too chaotic, then we will just come back up to our rooms to watch the game. But we are going to start down there anyway, and that's reminding me I need to place my bet for who I'm gonna have win the game. It's only scary in the playoffs because, you know, it could go anyway. But I've been talking for 10 minutes. I have read, I think, 2 chapters in Stoner by John Williams. And that's my update. I'm going to go out here to show y'all what I was talking about, the clouds and the mountains. Okay. I know, it's hard to vlog out here because of the copyright, because of music, but that's the mountains. Those are the clouds. Also, I went to a like produce place that has like apples and everything, but again, since I don't have a fridge, I can't buy anything, but I think I'm gonna go there tomorrow to buy some produce, buy some grapes, and it's all just Appalachian produce and, you know, from local farms and everything, North Carolina produce, which is always fantastic to support. But I did see some grapes that are grapes that I can eat that won't cause me major acid reflux, even though I've been eating a ton of tomatoes on this trip. And they had peanuts too, which are not boiled peanuts, but peanuts. I love peanuts. And they also had like cheese and sausage. Might look around at the sausage, but I couldn't get cheese. I don't think that would. I saw some Parmesan that looked really good, but I don't have anywhere to store that. I don't have a cooler. I really should invest in a cooler. I don't own one. Because I'm always like, I'm not going camping or anything. I don't have beer to put in there. But maybe I do need a cooler. Maybe I do need to look into that. But when I was there, so I was looking at, I think I was over where the sausages is, and somebody pushed me. They literally pushed me. And so I thought it was my dad just joking around, but when I turned, I couldn't tell if it was a man or a woman because their back was to me, and they were going like a few steps. So I guess they were a worker, but I was just like, excuse me. that just has like never happened to me, so I was kind of shocked by that. So when I said there was Southern hospitality everywhere, I guess that was the only place there wasn't. I don't know what was going on there. Maybe they really had to go to the bathroom or something, but that I did want to tell you, I went to that produce stand because I love to see the colors of the fruits and vegetables. Love color. Earth Day is happening, but yeah, so I hope y'all did see the clouds on the mountains, because I didn't realize, oh, there are people eating right under my balcony, and I was like, I hope they don't think I'm taking pictures of them or talking to them. But I'm gonna record again from the window because just it's so beautiful, guys. Let's see if it will focus. Let's see that those are clouds. And this is why they called it the Smoky Mountains, because they thought that looked like smoke. But it's the clouds, because I guess it's so high up. But yeah, it does look like smoke. But yeah, on the Blue Ridge Parkway, there were a lot of trees down off to the side, you know, where the trees are not, they weren't in the road. I'm assuming because of Hurricane Helene. And that was the thing, like coming up here, just a lot on the side of the road, just a lot of trees knocked down. But I'm glad, like, my favorite businesses and all survived, and just seeing people, I'm like, I'm glad they're alive. I know I'm getting kind of emotional. Because again, even when Hurricane Helene happened, I think I cried in a vlog. Because it was like the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. And it happening here, you know, where I've visited and been. And it was just really, really bad. But I don't need to cry. I was gonna start the show, switching gears, about Senna on Netflix, but my dad came in here to eat his sandwich, so I didn't have time to start it before the game. But yeah, I need to go play some bets now. Guys, when I tell you, the adrenaline is so high. I watched the hockey game down in the lobby. Jarvis got the goal at the end. I was jumping up and down screaming. So now I'm back in my room trying to get to ESPN to watch the rest of the Leafs game. So when I do, like, pushing the channel, it doesn't tell me what channel it's on. So I know ESPN's 110, but I press 110. It doesn't do shit. So hopefully, did this work? The screen's black. I despise TVs. I prefer streaming so much because every time, oh, TV, no signal, check the cable connection. Fuck. Because adrenaline for me is so high from the other hockey game that it has me just angry. I'm like, get this fucking game on because I have to go read at 9. I don't know how well you can see, but I did get it on there. Oh, and I did read 54 pages in Stoner. So my thoughts on that, like, we have done massive time jumps and I'm just like, what? Like, whoa, we're 12 years into the future. The flow doesn't flow well with the time jumps. I wish there was a more like distinct transition from one year to the next. Hey guys, I just finished the tree, so we're gonna do call pal. I need to see if my planner has a little like note section that I can write this in. Okay, it does. Let me write down that it is for the trees, so I'm not like in the future, what is this? Why is this here? What book is this for? So the trees, this is us doing call pal for it. So we're gonna start with the characters, and the characters were the thing that I think was the least strong. I think it was the weakest point, and I definitely do think this is an ideas story rather than character or plot, something like that. The characters are, we have so many law enforcement characters that it just gets kind of convoluted for me personally, where I'm like, I don't know who's who because I'm not really familiar with law enforcement either. That was all too much for me. And basically after the first 25%, we are getting introduced to new like little vignettes, I guess, where it will just be one chapter or maybe a handful of chapters about a certain plot line, that we would have those characters and I'd be like, wait, who's this, who's this, who's this? And like, you know, trying to make a chart in my head of who are all these people, what is their role, how is it connected to the story? And overall, I don't think there was a good wrap on the characters of how things ended for them. So we are going to give the characters, but the characters also are extremely realistic because I think this is how a lot of people in the South would act in this situation. So we are going to give the characters a 3. Let's go down to atmosphere. Again, incredibly realistic. You can definitely tell that Percival Everett's from South Carolina. The book has taken place in Mississippi, but you know, Southern culture, far and wide, I guess, it's just all over the place. And he does a fantastic job at like the dialect and just making it, I don't know how, because it's not descriptive. There's not, I am somebody who always paints a picture of every single book I read. There's always a picture in my head, a movie playing in my head, but you're not going to get that straight up on the page. We're going to give a 3 for the atmosphere as well. Now the writing is where this gets interesting. It's very short and quick to read if you were just reading it all in one sitting. Now that being said, if I was reading this physically, I think I would have struggled because the dialogue is just so quick. I probably would have got lost with that of who's speaking. I did the audiobook. The audiobook is free if you have Audible, if it's included with your subscription. So I definitely do recommend doing the audiobook. But yes, it's fast, it's quick to read, but after a while I just got kind of bored because it got repetitive. And I do think that helps bring its point across of just the brutality of lynchings and the legacy of lynchings and overall slavery. That it is getting that point across, just saying how rampant it was, how brutal it was, that it just kept happening for 400 years and nobody seemed to care. So I do think it could be that, but I mean, I don't really know if that's the point of, if that's what Percival Everett was trying to do. But yeah, at a point I was just like, okay, this is going on too long. And this book's only 307 pages. So the writing, we're also going to give a 3. Now plot, I know I'm going to give plot a 4. I think for the themes and everything, like for this premise, I really just had no idea where it was going to go. I didn't know this was going to be paranormal. I didn't know if it was just going to be like, you know, a thriller with like it's not true crime, but you know, with like crime aspects. I didn't know where it was going to go. And then, as I said, we do have, this is a critique of white supremacy and confronts the painful legacy of lynching in the United States. And it does a great job at that because it's so unique. And this is such just, yeah, as I said, it's unique, it's clever of doing a story about that like this. This is just not what you would expect, because you would probably expect like a historical literary fiction, and there are some great books like that, let me tell you, but taking it and making kind of like a thriller, a mystery thriller out of it, I don't even know how you think that up. And this book, if we go back to the well, okay, we're sticking on that before I go to the next one. I think it's chapter 63 that I think some people would just see these lists in this book and it's very tedious to read and not want to read through that, but it is so powerful. And I didn't even realize, if you really look at this cover, do you see these columns? It's so powerful. And after I read it, that chapter, I was just like, oh my gosh, like lost for words. Incredible, really powerful. And then going back, kind of like bouncing back to like the plot straight up of what it is, this book went places that I should have expected it to go, but I didn't expect it to go. Like, it's very logical that this book went places that it did, but just there were parts where I was just like, oh my gosh, is this really happening? But it's like, yes, this would totally really happen if this situation was going down. But if you are somebody who doesn't like open-ended endings, you're not gonna like this, because I'm still like reeling at the ending. I'm like, what is happening here? But yes, intrigue, we're going to give a 5 because I think I think you'll all realize that there. Logic, I'm going to give a 4 just because I would have liked everything to wrap up better. But again, everything's incredibly realistic, and I think how this kind of story would actually happen. And enjoyment, I am going to give a 4 as well. So let's do the math to see where all this ends up and what I end up rating this book. So we have, so 3.7 is what I will be rating The Trees by Percival Everett. This one was nominated for the Booker Prize, and that is what got this book on my radar. So this will be a 4-star on Goodreads. So yes, I would recommend that you pick up The Trees by Percival Everett. Hey guys, I am all packed. It is Wednesday. I am about to head out this morning to head back to South Carolina. I get to go to Target today, super exciting. I say as I have this beautiful view of the Smoky Mountains. Oh, oh my God. There he is down there. That was so scary. I thought it was a random guy. And I was like, oh my gosh. Which I'm not shy about vlogging in front of people, but I was like, wow, live audience. So, I am all packed, ready to go. Did you hear that? I'm all packed, ready to go. So, I am all ready on this beautiful spring morning. Hey guys, so I am home. My children, my cats, they are here with me. I used to not claim to be a cat mom, but now I'm like, they are my kids. So I'm gonna show y'all what I got on my trip. First, the book that I got at the little free library yesterday is this one, Barkskin by Annie Pro. I don't know how you say her name, but big chunky historical. Can't go wrong with that. Sometimes you can. The first puzzle I got is the Gateway Arch, which is bed, don't be calling carpet. Which is the gateway to the Smoky Mountains, which is in Waynesville. So I got that puzzle. And then I got this North Carolina one. That is just of the state with all the cinnamon things. I don't know what the wine is for down here where I am. I don't know what that's about, but I associate wine with like the Yadkin Valley, which is more Northwest, I guess. And the book I got there at this store, which Sassafras Silmain is the name. I got Throttled Dirty Air Series Book 1 by Lauren Asher. You know, good to support the indie bookstores. I got this necklace that was made by a local artist, and this is at Affairs of the Heart. So this like aluminum necklace, I'm gonna put this on after I take the price tag off. So I got that, and then the ornament I got just says Waynesville, North Carolina, and we're not calling the carpet. Hello, don't call carpet. This is Waynesville, North Carolina one with a cardinal, because y'all know cardinals are my favorite bird, one of my favorite animals. This is a crystal bear that I got. Okay, I did get some stickers. Okay, yeah, she put them in here. Okay, that's from a different store. And this is like the big thing that I got at Affairs of the Heart. This, I don't know exactly what to call this tree guy, kind of like a Celtic tree god. But I thought that was a super cool one. My vibe, whimsy. Then at Minted, so what's called Minted Mercantile. I got these. One's a postcard that says, "Here's to the land." No, we don't need to go behind the mirror. We don't need to go back there. It says, "Here's to the land of the longleaf pine, the summer land where the sun doth shine, where the wheat grows strong and the strong grow great. Here's to down home, the old North State." And I got a sticker that is, again, of North Carolina. And that was at Minted Mercantile. So I think that, oh, these books. Okay, Fred. It's not that scary. It's good. I'm gonna pick this up. The first book that I got, and this is Wall Street Books, is Zipporah's Wife of Moses by Merritt Coulter. Oh, this is the guy who wrote Sarah. So I already own a book by him and didn't realize it. It's my whole series. But she was in the movie Exodus, and the actress really stood out to me with like the face tattoos. No, I thought it was super cool. Next, I got Children of the Dawnland by Kathleen O'Neill Gear and W. Michael Gear, which is taking place after the Ice Age with like a reclusive witchy woman and yeah, cats, they need your attention. This is Sappho's Leap by Erica Jong. I don't really know anything about Sappho, but it's a journey back 2,600 years, and I saw there was like, yeah, they tried to overthrow, or they do overthrow, I don't know, a dictator. And that is everything I got on my trip to Waynesville, North Carolina. Hey guys, so what am I going to do now that I am home? We're just gonna get back to like regular schedule programming. I just had some Zaxby's. I haven't had Zaxby's in a long time, but so I'm feeling a little more energized. So I fell asleep around 4:30. I was reading I wasn't creeped out, but stories about things people have seen in Pisgah National Forest, which is where we were today. We drove through that on 276 coming home, and I was just reading about some people like these things called crawlers. Who knows? But I was reading that, I fell asleep. I slept for about 30 minutes, and then it's spring break here, so the kids behind me, y'all know, they were doing their thing. Delilah was barking, wanting to come in, or I don't know if she wanted to come in, so I was like, okay, maybe she needs water, but she had a dish full of cold water, and I think she just wanted to come in, but then when she came in, like, she wanted to go back out. I don't know what dogs, but then I went to Zaxby's, and yeah, so I never went to Target. My dad never brought it up, and I was like, I am so tired, I don't really want to bring it up, so we're just gonna pile up everything on tomorrow, because I'm going to B&B for lunch. And then, okay, well, I guess I won't go to Chick-fil-A tomorrow since I'm getting B&B. I might still, I mean, it just depends, because I don't really have anything here, because Target, you know, I would buy my groceries there. So, yeah, I don't know what I'm going to eat the rest of the night. And oh my gosh, I'm running out of storage, and I'm only at, well, it's only Wednesday. But I need to put the trees in my reading journal. I totally meant to bring my reading journal on the trip with me, but just forgot to. I need to do that. And then we have over here, we still have the stuff that I hauled because I filmed a TikTok over here. But the books I've hauled this month, we're going to get them sorted by genre. Right now, I don't have time to take them upstairs, but when I do get the time, I will put them in my little tote box and carry them upstairs to put them on my shelf. Oh, just adding more content for y'all. I actually do need to put the poll up on Fable to see which book my book club is going to be reading in May. We're going to be focusing on literary fiction, so that's something you think you'd be interested in joining. The link is always down below in the description of my videos. Guys, I just see I'm short. I'm standing on, on the tips of my toes. But I just finished Stoner by John Williams, so we will go through my thoughts and everything. I don't have a lot of thoughts. It's just a very two-star vibe. We will see with doing Call Pal though, if it does end up being a two-star. So I just have my little notepad that my dentist gave me. We're gonna start with characters. We're gonna give the characters a 2 because they did absolutely zero for me whatsoever. I didn't feel anything towards this character, and there's so much potential for the character of Stoner because this is just a very quiet book. It is following his day-to-day life through, like, I don't know, maybe 40 years, I would say. And you would think you could connect to a character in that time span and really feel for them and everything. But no, I never felt that connection. I don't know why I didn't feel that connection. It actually kind of frustrates me. I'm like, what am I missing here from this book? As for the atmosphere, um, it wasn't bad, but it didn't do anything for me once again. So 2-star, I guess. If you are a dark academia person, I would recommend this, especially like My Dark Vanessa, rather than something like The Secret History, because if you do like dark academia, this is just more of a realistic take because this is the life that many of us live, that day to day life. And it just is very reminiscent of that. It's taking place at the University of Missouri, or what is now the University of Missouri. So you're on a college campus for this whole book pretty much, only just a few snippets when they leave. But the writing I will give a 3. The writing I did think was really accessible. Like, I did not expect it to be. I thought this would be a book that would be really hard for me to grasp and to understand, but no, the writing is good. And that's why I saw when I finished the book that he has another book called Augustus. And if it's about Augustus Caesar, I might give it a go because I'm seeing if it says here. Yeah, so Augustus was the National Book Award winner, and y'all know I like Rome and I like Augustus. So if it's actually about the Emperor Augustus Caesar, then I might give it a go because I do think this writing is good and it was just way more accessible than I thought it would be. Now, the plot, we will give a 3 as well because, again, there's so much potential just following a character through his whole life and doing it at like an academic setting. Also, there are some just really good themes of maybe the lifestyle that we live and that we think is the right way isn't for everybody. And a lot of us will go through the same things, or like we might not go through the same like physical things, but we all like have desires. We all have our wants. Um, I think that's part of being human. And I'm thinking it will make you think a lot about that of parents and kids, how they want the same things but just go about it differently. And generational, I'm not trauma in this case, but there's just generational stuff. I'm thinking of Stoner and his daughter, and even with his own parents. There's also a lot of privilege and class discussions because, as y'all know on the description, William Stoner is born in the 19th century to a farming family in Missouri. His parents were not really educated. They, I would say, just have like an elementary school education, and this is back in the 1800s, so like 100 years ago, longer than that, probably like 200 years ago, and they just were not that educated compared to him. He goes to university, he gets an English degree, and is just your typical educated person. He is a professor and all of that. That's a phrase I need to take out of my vocabulary. But he is an academic now. Then he gets married and meets his in-laws, who his father-in-law is a broker, who maybe that family hasn't been as successful. We do have to remember This is in the time period that this is taking place in, as we do have the Great Depression, and I'm not going to say it, but does money buy class? Does money like, it's just so interesting to see how class can make people and our what we what we grasp for in life, what we aim for in life. That's what I was trying to say. So there are good themes there. Intrigue, no, I had no intrigue whatsoever. I didn't really care what would happen. But logic, yeah, I would give the logic a 4 because this is life for a ton of people. And then my enjoyment, I just did it opposite. Enjoyment would be a 2 because I do think this is ultimately going to be forgettable, and it did not live up to the hype. This is one, if not the, I think East of Eden was the most popular, but this is so like one of the top 3 highest rated classics on my TBR according to Goodreads. And to me personally, it did not live up to that hype. So that's Stoner by John Williams. I don't think it's a bad book, but I wouldn't really recommend it. It didn't do a whole lot for me, but let's see what I'm going to read next. The next read is the last book on my TBR this month and my graphic novel pick, which is Dog Days by Kim So Gendry Kim. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. This is, again, a graphic novel. I'm going to read the description to y'all here because that's what I do when I start a book. I read the description to you guys. And this is translated by Janet Hong, by the way. Yuna never wanted to adopt a dog, but with her partner in mourning and in desperate need of a boost in morale, she gives in to his humble request. And in the grand tradition of reluctant pet owners, she and their puppies soon become inseparable. The young couple even goes so far as to relocate to soothe their new canine pal's anxiety. After all, there's nothing like a move to the country to set yourself right, right? The ideal of a quiet life soon gives way to a surprising degree of antagonism, including clashes with longtime local residents of a different generation. The culture shock is palpable for all 3 urban transplants as the isolation of their new environs starts to sink in. I learned about this book on TikTok from Emmeline. I love dog stories, not dog, well, like animal stories. Laika Yono, which is one of my favorite graphic novels, if not my favorite graphic novel, was a graphic novel about a dog. I'm not sure if this is nonfiction or not. For some reason, I am thinking this is nonfiction. It says contemporary autofiction. I've never heard the term autofiction before. Like fiction about yourself? That's what that would seem like, but I'm not familiar with that term. I am going to have to look into it, but I will be starting this tomorrow. I'm going to go write my review for Stoner, and I'm still working on the books that I am hauling. Oh, another thing. Did y'all know on Kindle Unlimited, you can only have a certain amount of books checked out at one time? So I'm like, I don't like this at all. With Audible, I can have as many books in my library as I want, like in real life. Real life. I can have as many books in my library as I want, you know? But on Kindle, so I was going to add the 5 people you made in heaven to my Kindle library because I do have a Kindle Unlimited subscription. So I thought, Kindle Unlimited. It's not really unlimited. You can't have as many books as you want because it was like, you'll have to return one of the ones you already have. And I was like, what? I have to do that? I don't like that at all because, as I said, with Audible, I can have as many books as I want. Audible and Kindle are owned by the same company. They're both Amazon. So why can you have as many as you want, but Kindle you can't? And it's not even my physical Kindle itself, like, you know, like the amount of gigabytes or whatever it has. No, I was trying to download it on my phone, but it was like, no, you have to return. And I'm like, I don't really want to return because, so I did look up, so Leviathan Wakes is the book that was on the list that they showed me that I have read. I didn't like that book necessarily, but I have notes on it, and it was a book I read with my book club, and I unhauled my physical copy because I had the Kindle copy, so I was like, I don't need 2 copies of the same book. But no, it doesn't work like that. So if I do return the book to Kindle or Amazon or whoever, I can still have those notes if I check out the book again. But I just don't like that. What is such misadvertising? Kindle Unlimited. It's not unlimited. There is a limited amount of books that you can check out at once. So We are about to head upstairs to get all of these organized. I also have Sunrise on the Reaping, which will go up there with my other, teenage dystopian books. I just want to let y'all know that this book was hauled too. Oh yeah, I did want to say what genre is which. So fantasy, nonfiction, historical, disgusting carpet, literary, romance, classic. I fit them all into the one box. And I'm gonna go carry this up a flight of stairs now. Probably not the smart thing to do. Don't try this at home. I made it with all the books. So here's the shelves. We're probably gonna have to move to the second shelf this week. But here we go on getting the books sorted. Oh, and this one's actually a sequel, so I'm gonna go put it in my box of sequels that, I haven't read the first book. Thursday, so sorry I'm like out of breath. I just got in from doing my cardio, but it's Thursday and I'm like, what do we need to do for the reset? We can do my spread for May for my Kindle, and then I haven't filmed my wrap up yet, but these are the books for my wrap up. I guess we could go through that and like stamp the ones that I'm keeping, put cards in the one that I will be donating. So I think we're going to do that because right now that's just the easier option and less time consuming option to do while I am at lunch. So we're gonna do that. About that or not if I didn't know if I was going. We're gonna put that there. Hopefully the sound is alright. I know the first clip I filmed on the phone, at first it was kind of staticky and then it got better. I don't know how these things work. TikTok made microphones a thing. Let's see. I'm going to show you what I got at Target, which this will have its own separate short in about a month. But I know some people just watch the videos, some people just watch the shorts. Personally, when I subscribe to a channel, I don't watch their shorts because typically they're the same things that the creators are posting on TikTok, so I just watch the videos. But I did get a book, and it has the sprayed edges and all, because that is how books are made nowadays. This is called Firebird by Juliet Cross. And Target sells stickers look kind of different now. But this is basically a reimagining of ancient Rome if there were dragons. So that could be incredible or it could be god-awful. Let's see. Oh my gosh, the map. Okay, so here's what it looks like naked. And look at those. Even if I hate it, I might keep it because this map is just so amazing. Oh my gosh, I'm in love. I'm in love with that map. Do we have, okay, in the other pages are the same. Why am I looking for the description in the book? But yeah, basically of Rome, it says, a conqueror captivated, a witch prophesied to save them all, a world where dragons rule Rome. Crazy idea there, but I mean, very creative. I got the Thayer's facial toner unscented because I have run out. I only have about one more use in the other bottle I have. I wish they had like, you didn't have to get these plastic bottles every time. I mean, obviously they're recyclable, but still. Then I need more makeup remover wipes. I survived my trip because hotels give them to you, so but I didn't have any at home. Now, the Easter decorations right now are 50% off. I got this little tea light holder. I love the colors of it, the green and the pink. The phone camera is not doing it justice, but this is just like my like colors that I like. I also got this bunny that you could put a tea light in. So originally I was only gonna get this, but I was like, I want it. So both of these, this was $15, this was $15, and half that. So what is that, like $7.50 or something? So both of these were the price of one essentially, but this is a standing bunny, and again, you could put a tea light in there and it would be all lit up. But just this is good for spring. This is an Easter decoration, so he's going to be going to my storage unit sometime soon. I actually don't know when I'm going. Like I should go tomorrow, but I don't know if I'm going to do that or not because I don't want to make it too busy for everybody else. But so I might go Saturday. But that is everything that I got Target again. We have to see this again. Like gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous end pages. I'm usually not somebody who like cares about the sprayed edges and all that, but the ancient history lover in me is loving this, and I always love a good map, especially it's in color and not black and white. So guys, I just finished Dog Days. I'm going to be giving this a 4 star. I don't really do decimals with my graphic novels or nonfiction books, so this is both of those things. So, what is this really about? I told you all the description of the book, but this family, this couple with their dog, that's a family, they move to the countryside. It's still near Seoul, so not too far away, and in the country there are still and in the more rural area there are still some customs in Korea that are not mainstream in like cities and everything, just customs from the past, which is eating dogs. The author was really like nervous writing this book or creating this book because it is a graphic novel as well, so she was doing art as well, making sure the microphone's on, because there is that stereotype here in the West that Asian people or Korean people eat dogs, that they cook dogs and all of that. And that is like not everybody in Korea does that. That is not a mainstream thing in Korea or in Asia. And she really wanted, so she was really scared that people would just generalize her culture and her country, thinking people do that. But no, that's not true. And it has since been outlawed in Korea, the eating of dogs and using dogs for food. I do want to just go through my notes with y'all because I did take notes my whole time reading this. Early parts of this book were so relatable being a dog owner. There are just those anxieties that come with it. I'm going to have to bring this closer because the way the lighting is, I'm struggling to see it. But if it was another dog, like only one of my dogs I've got from a breeder, and I was, I don't know, 7 years old when that happened. So I am somebody who I don't adopt. I know I adopt, I don't shop. But with my dog Max, he came from a breeder and a backyard breeder, and that lady went to jail. No, but it's like, what if she had handed my dad a different dog? That is a thought. There's also this is something I think with my dogs that or my pets that came from the shelter, like what are their stories? Where did they come from? How did they end up at the shelter? Because yeah, both of my pets that are from a shelter, they were just like dumped at the shelter. Like the people didn't go in and being like, filling out the paperwork and all like you're supposed to do. And then my cat that was a stray, two of my cats have been strays. It's just always interesting, like, where did they come from? What is their story before they came to me? I always think about that, and I wish I knew. I feel like all my animals are not introverts, but like Delilah's very anxious if she's out in public. Fred is one, if somebody rings the doorbell, he goes and hides under the bed. And we're like, okay, why are you telling us this? It's like, do animals pick up their personality traits from their owners? Because sometimes I feel really bad. I'm like, she's like this because I'm like this. Like, I wouldn't wish my anxiety and all on other people and other animals. Like, sorry, lightning. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. And I was always like so scared. I'm like, is Delilah like this because I'm like this? And my dad was like, no, no, you don't need to worry about that. But our author does address that as well. Yeah, one of the things that I struggled with only a few times is I wouldn't know if a scene was over or not. Especially page 40 is when this first happened. I was just like, wait, what? Did I skip a page? That happened. That has happened in another memoir, like graphic memoir that I've read. I don't know if that's just common in the genre. It's really for those of you who just want to save them all, especially I think if you work just in animal rescue or animal shelters, whatever, I don't know the right word, but if you work with animals, especially dogs, this is for you because it is just so moving of this. You can definitely relate of knowing you're not going to be able to save every single animal, but wanting to and feeling like that's your call. I've talked about before, I think my purpose in life was to feed the cats, to feed the stray cats and stray possums and whoever else wants to come to the dish. But I do think that is my reason for life. They're what I've been sent here to do. Um, so I think if you're somebody in a similar situation, then this would be a good book for you because I think that's one of the huge themes here. And then this is like really like what this book is about. The themes here is the goodness of dog lovers. It just it's so impactful, and seeing empathy, seeing compassion. That doesn't only when I preach about that, I'm not only saying treat humans like that. I'm saying treat animals, treat the earth. Everybody deserves compassion. And so cultures here growing, changing. Is it good or bad? Should we judge people for things that they do in their culture? In this case, eating dogs and killing dogs for the sake of food, like we do to cows and pigs, chickens, whatever. It having that judgment towards that, is that a good thing or is it a bad thing? Just rural areas being behind, I think that's not only true in Korea but everywhere, that they aren't getting, especially with the older generations, they're not on social media, they're not on the internet like us young people are, so they're not seeing all these different views and maybe not being educated on topics as much as the younger generations or people in more cultural centers. Thing about how different places in different countries can be so different. Like she talked about in Seoul, how dogs are treated like children essentially, like they are treated like part of the family. They go in strollers, they wear little sweaters and all that, and then go to Gangwa Island, I think it's, I'm not sure if that's how you say it, but going there to where dogs are chained to trees or being locked in cages, being made into alcohol. It's just completely different. And I think that's so interesting with Gawa Island being so close to Seoul that it can just be like two different things. You can even think of like you'll have like a Republican state next to a Democrat state, and just how all that is so interesting. Like South Carolina is a red state when North Carolina is. They did vote for Trump, but but everything else is Democrat, like all their local, like governor and that kind of thing. And that's why I'm always confused with North Carolina. I'm like, do I call it a blue state? Do I call it a red state? But I do it based on who the governor is. So like you have North Carolina, who's a blue state, South Carolina, a red state, where they are, side by side, but have different views, even if they are in the same country. And I did really like this quote that she had in the, I don't know, it's an afterword or author's note at the end. Hatred, disgust, and anger are not the way forward. And that is so true. So wanting to educate those people in those rural communities, saying like, hey, this isn't the way. But you can't be judgmental towards them. You can't be disgusted by them. You can't be angry towards them. I'm sure you feel all those things inside, but putting that on those people, that's not going to change their mind. I talk about this all the time with different things. Like, if you are calling somebody stupid, that's not going to get them to your side. If you're calling somebody disgusting, calling their beliefs and their culture disgusting, that's not going to change anything. That's probably going to make it worse. So I do like that quote because it is something that I preach on here all the time. But that is all for the vlog. I completed my TBR for the month, so I'm super happy about that. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you made it through this whole video, leave a rain emoji in the comments below. And as always, comment, rate, and subscribe. And don't forget to ring that notification bell to be notified when all my videos go live. I know I haven't said what book I'm reading next week. I have my book club currently voting on that, so I don't even know what I'm going to be reading next, but I am going to be mainly focusing on Outlander until I get that May TBR together. But I'll see you in my next one. Bye!